Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Nishmas Mordechai. It's a very, very special day. If you joined us, Brachas Daf Beis 542 days ago, today is 20% of Shas. We just finished 20% of Shas. It's a big, big accomplishment. Today's shir, that was David Feinberg clapping in the background. He is the official statistician who's keeping track. Today's shir is sponsored by Mendy and Ricky Greenblatt. Lezecher nishmas, my brother-in-law, Edan ben Viyolet, Chaya v'Meir, whose second yurtzeit is today, and on the Shloshim of our dear uncle Dov Moshe ben Binyamin tomorrow night. Also sponsored by Simcha Weichbrod, sponsoring today's shir for our 28th wedding anniversary. For my wife Leah, who is the koyach 28 behind me, always encouraged me to go learn the daf. Okay, it was miss something, but we get the idea. She always encourages him to go learn the daf and to daven, I think, or something like that. Okay. This one is by the stress relief pill, Yossi Klein from Muncie. He goes to the top whenever he sends an email to the front. And it also doesn't help that all the emails I printed yesterday, I have no idea where I put them. I printed a lot, so I had to print different ones. But okay, we got good ones today. There's going to be some, I don't know if I should read this or not. The fact that I don't know if I should read it means that some certain individual is going to get up here and make a gestrai. Hi, Rebelli. Yesterday when I came home from a very hectic day, not this one, I didn't have a drop of energy left. Right at my door, I found a box from Harry Shalom, a present which is very close to me, a sefer from the Ben Ish Chai. You see the picture attached, who I'm named after. Yossi Klein is named after the Ben Ish Chai. So this is the book he found by his door. He's never met Harry Ben Shalom. He doesn't even know Harry. But through the daf, he has a friend in Harry Shalom who sends him gifts and uplifted his spirits when he got home. My grandfather used to say, "You never come home hungry." Now this made my whole mood change. Before I walked in, Harry may have a perfect English with a broken Yiddish. I may have a perfect Yiddish with a broken English. But you, Rebelli, with Hashem's Torah, you bring us together to speak one language that Hashem wants to hear. Hashem echad v'sirasei echad. I would never dream to get something from a stranger that I never met and feel so connected even when we're so far away. I don't think this would happen in any other shir. Thanks, Rebelli, for making it happen. Yossi Klein, Muncie, New York. Yishkoyach Yossi. This is for Jonathan. Nobody listened to this besides Jonathan Stefansky. By the way, we have in our house Jonathan Austin. And I was talking yesterday about not to be yurtzeit. So a person who wants to get two people together makes a phone call, and if it doesn't work out, he's yurtzeit. But a person that calls, I'm talking about 150 times each side to get me on the phone, to get them, and he finally got a meeting, he got an interview scheduled. Then they canceled my flight with COVID and the this and the that, and they had to redo it. That's to go above and beyond, to go the extra mile, not to be yurtzeit, all for one reason. He for sure didn't do it for any gaiva. He did it so that more people should join this year. For one reason. And also, by the way, we owe him a tremendous yishkoyach because I got to talk to Noam and Tomer Levy about the upcoming siyum at the Kaisel. How I propose it that Masechtas Yoma, we're going to do a siyum at the Kaisel. All the Avodah Beis Hamikdash at the Kaisel. So that's also Jonathan Austin who got us a place by Nativ. Beautiful, overlooking Mamish, 10 feet above the Kaisel, the plaza over there. All right, so we'll talk about that tomorrow. Be'ez Hashem, we'll have a final plan now that Noam is back and hopefully he's with it. We'll schmooze it out and we'll get it going. The name of this email is, it's a brand new email, I guess. It says at the end, have a great biday, Rabbi Isai, at pokeemail.net. A while ago, there's a debate about what makes someone a true MDY member, listening to the shir, sending an email, attending an event. I'd like to humbly suggest a different criterion. In an earlier shir, the concept of making sure one cleans oneself well after using the bathroom came up. In your imitable style, you strongly suggested that people install a bidet on their toilets. I'm not Mikabel, I actually said this in shir. I said this in shir. Why didn't you say it? Why didn't you stop me? Why didn't you help me? What's wrong with you? What? What did you say? Oh, mom, change your life. This was clearly min hashamayim that what? The very day that I mentioned it, a notification about a sale on a certain mile of a day attachment came up on my phone. This was clearly min hashamayim, in parentheses. Nachman Seltzer should include it in a book. A few days later, Nachman is like being mentioned in every email here. Nachman, a few days later, the bidet was installed. Boy, were you right. Add this to the many ways your shir is changing lives. Everyone should have one of these. How many other shir participants have bidets? And if they don't, can they truly say they are MDY members? Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Sincerely, a true MDY member who made a special email address just to send this email. Unreal. I hope it's not you, Nachman, playing around with me. He's not happy. Dear Rav Eli, I'm a new member to the MDY family, starting with Yoma. Suffice it to say, I'm addicted. I chat daily about this year with fellow MDY member Yankee Berman, son of the famous Eli Berman of Strauss Bakery. Schlissel Chalov guy. I want to tell you what happened to me on the train tonight on my way home from work. I was sitting next to my brother-in-law, and we were both learning the daf. He says, I didn't know you learned the daf. I said, I started recently by Yoma. He then gives me his face and says, Yoma wasn't so good. A lot of things were hard to understand and visualize. He used the art scroll and occasionally listened to a shir. I said, that's funny because Yoma was one of the most geschmacke mesechtes I ever learned. You should have learned it with Rav Eli. I agree. What a beautiful mesechta. I'm scared to finish it. The shir really came alive with the charts, diagrams, models, presentations you prepared. And honestly, I don't believe how anyone other than a fellow MDY member could have fully understood Yoma without watching the shir. Okay, I don't know about that. Looking forward to many daf Gemara together with MDY family, your faithful Talmud, BJ Frankel, MDY, North Woodmere. P.S. I'm a huge Reb Nachman Seltzer fan. And the book he wrote, titled Incredible, is the best book I've ever read. It is really a big schus for you to sit in his presence on a daily basis. Wow. Nachman, I'm also a very big fan. And I bought this book. I never bought an English book in Israel, 132 shekel in Israel. It's worth every penny. And I would like you to please inscribe it with your most beautiful lashonas. I'm at page 81 already. I want to tell you a quick story from the book about not being yurtzeit. Rabbi Grossman, I'll say because I'm gonna mess up the story and he's gonna yell at me. But to say bekitz and imrot. Rabbi Grossman, look at him. Zoom in on him. You've never seen him feel so uncomfortable in your life. Get up here. Come here. Tell me if I said the story. You know what? You say the story. The story about selling his house. Come here, say the story. Come and say it. But say it in 1 minute. Could you say it in 1 minute? Can you say bekitz and imrot? No, it's about, the point of that story is a person could do a certain action which Reb Nachman is going to say, and he can make a phone call in Cholei Yisrael, or he could do, that's tibi yaitza, or he could go lemala from what you were required to do. Here you go, Reb Nachman.
So basically, the story is that Rabbi Grossman, he asked himself, the kitzer. All right, so we're not going to tell the story, but we're going to tell the story. And basically, the idea is, without saying the story, we'll just talk about it a little bit. No, you know what? We're going to say the story. No, maybe just a little. No, we'll just say part of it. No, the whole thing. We'll just say the whole thing. Okay. So basically, this. So the story is that Rabbi Grossman asks, how come he was Lezecher to what he was Lezecher to? Like, if you go to Migdal Emek, you see that he owns his institution owns half the city, literally. Like they own 100 buildings. So he said but he came he came to Migdal Emek. So he saw he was walking down the street one night and he saw all these fancy cars. And he said, who has money to have cars like this in Migdal Emek? And he asked people, they said, these are cars from Arabs that come from local cities nearby. And they come here and they meet the girls over here in Migdal Emek and they take them out. Kitzer, he said, wait a second, who's giving permission to these Arabs to come here? Somebody's running this situation. And he asked around, and he realized there's a guy in the city, his name is Pinchas. I changed his name to Kobe, but his name is Pinchas. He's the local mafia guy, and he's running this thing. He's running this operation. So Grossman said, I can't believe this terrible thing. Like, these girls are obviously going to marry Arabs, and he said, I got to stop this. And he went to the guy's house, and he says, he came there, and this Romanian guy, there are a lot of Romanians there. He said, what are you doing? He said, I have to go speak to him. He says, the Rebbe comes in the Ganef. The Rebbe comes in the Ganef. The Rebbe's going to speak the Ganef. He goes to his house. He comes in, a wife beater. He says, what do you want? He says, I came to drink l'chaim with you. He says, what do you say to that? Right? So he comes in. He knew who he was. He knows he goes to the discos and talks to the youth. He sits down with him and he says, and he says to him, how could you do this? How could you run this? I know you're the one behind this. How could you do this? He says, in my business. And he starts, well, what other job can I get you? The guy says if he has a truck, he'll drop this business. So Rabbi Grossman tells me, I go home, I go to Yerushalayim, I had an apartment in Yerushalayim, my parents bought me when I got married. I sold my apartment, I took the money, and I bought him a truck. I bought this guy a truck, and the guy and not only that, he also arranged for somebody. It was a company that made leather garments, and he arranged that he should drive them to the airport, pick it up. So he got the guy a truck, he got the guy a job, and he became his driver after that. He says, that's what I credit to the start of my tzlacha, is with taking my apartment, selling it, and buying this guy a truck, and save the girls in Migdal Emek. He said after that, if Arabs tried to come into Migdal Emek, they stopped them. You won't find Arabs there. He says they slashed the tire. This guy turned the whole thing around. That was it. No more Arabs after that. He says, he sold his apartment to buy a truck for this person to save the girls.
Not to be yurtzeit. I don't live my life to be yurtzeit zayin. Rabbi, I forgot to mention something important. Meaningful people came out today. Meaningful people, the episode. Dr. Gemara. We're holding Daf Ayin Amud Beis, the last words. Today's Daf Pei. Now, the old age question, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Today we're going to answer the question. Says the Gemara, Tanya Rebbe Omer. Kol ha-shiurim kulon b'kazayis. When it comes to the shiurim in the Torah, when it comes to food, kazayis, how much matzah to eat? Kazayis. How much mar? Kazayis. It's all kazayis. Chutz mitumas oichlin sheshina kosov b'mashmon v'shinu chachamim b'shiuron. Since the Torah uses a different language when it comes to the tumah of food, so memela the shir is different. How do you know that if the Torah changes the lashon, you change the shir? V'rei l'davar Yoma Kippurim. We have a raya from Yom Kippur, the sugi that we had yesterday. All these beautiful pictures of people in their cars, and Tomer Levi on his trip, and Mark Ashkenazi. I'm going to wait for tomorrow. I'm not going to show them now. Tomorrow we're going to. Okay. Miloi, so it says like this. It says Miloi Su'una. We learned yesterday, Miloi Su'une. On Yom Kippur, it should say, do not eat. How do you tell somebody don't? You have to fast on Yom Kippur. Loi Soichal. What is this interesting lashon, Su'una? So the whole day yesterday we were discussing Su'una. You have to be afflicted with pain. Miyativ daitoi. It calms you down. It soothes you. Doesn't soothe you. It's not about eating. It's about soothing. And that's why the Torah uses a lashon of Su'una. And not oichel. It's not about eating, it's about being calm. And if you eat a kekeseves hagasa, you eat a fat date, that calms you down. Okay, so by Tumah also, we have an interesting lashon. So they changed it from a chila of kezayis on Yom Kippur to a kekeseves hagasa. Why do you need a raya? Because at the end of the day, just start straight from the pasuk by Tumah and say, the pasuk by Tumah, strange lashon. What's the strange lashon? Anybody could see it's strange. Mikala oichel asher yachal, from all food that's eaten, that's edible. Just say all food. All food creates Tumah. What do you mean? Asher yachal. Oichel asher yachal. It's a double lashon. So from that alone, I would say, you know what it means? It means to tell me change the shear. Typically speaking, when it comes to food, by matzah, it's a kazayis. Today, it's a different shear. It's going to be something else. It's going to be a kabetza. Why? Because it's a funny lashon. It says Gemara, Dima Hasam, Havamina Ucher the Krohu. Just sit without Rashi. What will we do without Rashi? Hashem Yirachem. But Rashi explains it beautifully. Just continue on the pasuk. The rest of the pasuk is also strange. It says, V'chol mashka, liquids, asher yishasa, that you drink. Well, very good. It should say, V'chol mashka, any liquid. Asher yishasa. So we see, so perhaps you'll say, it's a lishna b'nei adam. This is the vernacular, the vernacular. This is the way people speak. This is the slang. It's lishna b'nei adam. Don't bring a raya from this. No, I am going to bring a raya. Because you see, by Yom Kippur, the little bit of a shin of a lashon creates a different shear. You go from a kazayis to a kekeseves hagasa. So to over here by Tumah, the difference of don't tell me that it's lishon b'nei adam. It's enough to tell me that it's a different shear. Okay. It It's not the urcha dekra. So, what is the shear? Tumas oichlin b'kebeitza minalan. We know that the tuma is b'kebeitza. Very interesting shear. An egg's worth. Where did it come from? The egg. And what kind of egg? There's many different eggs. There's the ostrich. There's even larger than the ostrich. There's a hummingbird. What egg? Anybody see a hummingbird? Like a live one? Some of them are the size of a bumblebee. So imagine what their egg looks like. Okay? Listen to this. Food that's edible. It's food. It's an egg. This answers the question. It's an egg that comes from a chicken. So the chicken came before the egg. It's unfortunate. The Gemara. It's actually the Gemara in Sanhedrin says that Hakadosh Baruch Hu created the animals first, and then okay. But it's must be food that comes from food. The only thing in the world that I could think of that's food that comes from food is an egg. That's the Gemara. Yeah, but what shear is milk? What shear is honey? It has no shear. It's 100. It's what? Kibeitza. It has to be a size of something. Wait a minute. A very small animal, the smallest kosher animal I can think of is a goat. So maybe it's the size of a baby goat. That's a lot. In order to, imagine Pesach night, you have to eat matzah, bikidi. That'd be wow. Yeah, baby one. Mechusar shchita, you can't eat a goat. You can't eat it as is. Ve'ema ben pekua. You could eat a goat. There's a way to eat a goat. If you shech the mother and inside you find the live goat, you could eat it without even shchita. You don't need shchita. Says the Gemara, yeah, that kind of goat. But we don't need it today. Koyach, ton and kriya. You can't eat it. You know why? Because it has blood. So you got to get rid of the blood first. You have to rip it open. So it's not as is. You can't eat it as is. Ve'ema beitzas bar yochni. There's an egg, says Rashi, the famous bar yochni, that it cracked open and it drowned 60 cities. Okay? There's once some person that came to Rav and said, the Gemara doesn't know what it's talking about. How could it be an egg? So he said, look, if I wrote somewhere that this drop of something drowned 60 cities, you'd say, Meshuggah. It's a lashon that people speak. You see this little piece of ink? The king wrote, destroy 60 cities. So 60 cities. So there's ways, different things to understand different ways. Sometimes it's a guzma. Sometimes it's a way that people speak. Says the Gemara, tofasta meruba loy tofasta. When you try to grab too much, like the guy that goes into the vault, it happened in New York, like one of these radio stations. They told the guy, koyach, can I read it out loud? I can't read your handwriting. No, koyach, what does it say here? To the number one magid in the world, Yishkoyach. You're proof that just the balabas can become a living legend himself. Yishkoyach. Thank you. Beautiful. Wow. All right. Just the balabas. Name of the next sefer. Veima. Okay, so. Just Good morning, Rabbi. Good morning, Shmuel. How are you? So, tafasta meruba like tafasta. Guy goes into the thing, take as much cash as you want. He says, if you don't think, you don't take, you'll come out with nothing. There's a maisa, tafasta meruba maisa. A guy was dying, and he had a lot of money. So he tells a shliach, he says, go take this money and give it to my wife. The guy says, no, I don't want it. He says, I'll pay you. He says, how much do you pay me? You have a lot of money, you're dying. You better pay up. So he says, I'll give you 10%. No, I want 20. So he says, okay, fine, I'll give you 20. Just do it. He says, no, I want 30. Kids, he starts messing with him, and he realizes that he could take whatever he wants, because at the end of the day, the guy's dying, he has no choice. So the guy wrote him a shtar, and he said, okay, you know what? However much you want, you take, and Cholei Yisrael. You could take, what was the lashon? You could take, I don't want to mess up the story, whatever much. Yeah, that's the lashon. As much as you want, no. As much as you want, give her. As much as you want, give her. So he said, okay, great. So he's thinking on the way. He's going there. He says, I'm going to go 50-50 with her. The kids there, by the time he got there, it's like, I'm going to go 95% and 5% to her. And, oh, look how much I worked. I worked really hard. So he gives her, she starts screaming. She says, my husband was a millionaire. What are you doing? So they go to the Rav. And he pulls out the shtar. And the Rav realized that something's fishy here. So he says, it says in the shtar, whatever you want, give her. So in other words, however much you wanted, the 95 that you want, that's how much you have to give her. Because he realized that he's being a jerk, and he was. So if he would have said, okay, 45% to me and 55% to the wife, so he would have gained 55%. Now, because the fasta meruba, he took too much, he wanted 95, he ended up with only 5%. There's another mice. I know that wasn't the great mice because I messed it up in the middle. There was a guy, a non-Jew, saw that everybody collects money in the shul. So he decided he's going to go collect in the shul. So it's a great business. So he heard somebody say, I'm a ger tzedek. So he said, oh, that's a great idea. So he said, I'm a ger tzedek. And the people are giving him money. And then he noticed some Hasidic looking guy. He says, I'm an enikol of the best. And he sees that people are mamish, they're giving him. So he said, oh, I have a great chab. He goes, I'm a ger tzedek, enikol of the best. And okay, tafasta meruba loy tafasta. Fine. Zok Gemara. Veima be'atzah the tziparta. Maybe the zuter tuba. Maybe it's an egg of a tiny, tiny bird. It's very, very small. It's mamish a shame I don't have very, very tiny eggs here. What do you think? You're gonna let something like this. You got to be careful here. Now you know that because of the blood and everything, this could all be a big joke. Oi. They are from a merpeset. Here we go. It's not bad, huh? So this is not it. But this is it. This is the real deal. Mamish, the real deal. This is from somebody's merpeset. Akiva is laughing already. He's back. This is it. This is a pigeon's egg. I thought I had here. Oh, here. Yeah, does anybody want to taste this one? Huh? Why? Here, I'm going to put it in a bag here. Because I don't believe it's a real. I'm going to smash it maybe. Anyways, maybe it's this size. Who told you it's the egg of a chicken? Maybe it's this size. Here, Nachman, you do the thing. You smash it. I'm scared to smash it. What if a little... Mati Middeldorf. No, I'm saying, what if a little baby pigeon comes flying out of this thing? Oh, hey, Mati. Anyway, so the question is, who told you it's the egg of a chicken? Maybe it's the egg of a pigeon. Maybe it's the egg of a, I don't know what. Says the Gemara. So, he said a different pshat, says Rashi, than his Rebbe Lazar. Okay. I learned from this pasuk that it's food that you could eat it in one swallow. That is the size of the egg of a chicken. There's an Edan in the Achrayim. The eggs, the size changed, didn't change, but okay. If you eat forbidden foods, you have to bring a carbon, like chaylev. Shema Yavai Bezdin Acher V'Yarbe B'Shiur. So, what happens? You don't know. Mashiach might come tomorrow. You might have to bring a carbon. You don't know what kind of carbon. There are three sizes of olives. Not literally like based on this picture. There's a small olive, a medium olive, and a very large olive. This Aleph, there's 2 dogs here, just to give you like the frame of reference. Huh? Proportion. This is proportionate. This is not real. This is not the real share. Okay, it's just the saber size. So there's 3. So the guy ate the middle one. So he has to write down in his diary. He says, I ate chaylev this size, the exact size. Why? Because if Mashiach comes and tells you that the size is right over here, now he's chayev. But if the size is over here, he's potter. So he has to know what to do. He has to know, does he have to bring a carbon, not to bring a carbon? Says the Gemara, my Irish Shurim. If they say, they come and say, we have to be machmer. Even a very small size of a kazayis, this tiny little olive, you're also chayiv. So he's certainly chayiv. Why does he have to bring a carbon? Asked the Gemara. He doesn't have to bring a carbon. You know why? Because it says in the pasuk, at the time when you're being over on the aveira, hashav midiyasai, maybe carbon al shigigasai. If you would say, okay, I'm not going to do it. I didn't know it's aser. Then you have to bring a carbon. Lo shav midiyasai, hey, maybe carbon al shigigasai. If a guy's a shegitz, he says, I don't care. I'm going to do it. So that's not a shegig. That's amazing. But what if a guy, they tell him, this shia right over here, you're not chayiv a carbon. So he goes and eats it. You're not chayiv a carbon, so he eats it. So the Tais Rosh asks, Chatzi Shir is also aser. But the point is that he says that when you do an Isser, you have to know the chumrah of the Isser. You have to know what you chayiv, at what point do you chayiv. And since he didn't know, that came 5 months later where Mashiach came and he told you, oh, you chayiv on this. You're part from a carbon. Hello, so we have to say the pshat is the loy mechayiv carbon adikik is gadol. He ate the middle guy. And they said, you are not chayiv at all. You know why? Because in order to be chayiv a carbon, you have to eat the giant size. So it's a big deal. Now, it's good to know that, because had he not written it down, he would have brought a carbon, chulam bazar. It's not a good carbon. Well, the Gemara just wants to clean this up a little bit. What was the hava mina that we're going this direction? We're going to the small. The mechayiv carbon kazayis katan, ma yarbe b'shiurim. So it says, it says, if Bezin comes and tells you that the real shiur of a kizayis is the little guy, you're going to make a lot of shiurim. What does it mean? The opposite. We're going to make it smaller, not larger. Because if this is in fact, the real shiur is the tiny little kizayis, many more people are going to be chayiv a carbon. It's going to bring a lot of carbonos because of the smaller shiur. Shiurim v'oinchim halacha l'moshe Sinai. Shiurim, what requires what shiur? This is a kibetza, this is a revius. Halacha Moshe Sinai and Einchim. What does that mean? Einchim michtav ksivi. It says mefurish in the Torah. You get kares, you get malchus. That's not something that's halacha Moshe Sinai. Halacha Yoma. Shiurim shalayinchim halacha Moshe Sinai. How much do you have to carry in Rishus Harabim in order to be chayiv malchus, kares? How much do you have to eat chaylev? All these things. The amount of the shiur to the einish. That's halacha Moshe Sinai. Other people say bezdino shel yabetz tiknum. Yabetz is a snil ben knaz, who was the very first shofet. Who was the very, very last shofet? Very good, Leibi. Shmuel. Shmuel was the last shofet. So the first shofet was snil ben knaz. He was the one that was misakin the shiurim. As says the Gemara, how could that be? You can't make chidushim. Of course, like the Tanakama says, just Cholei Yisrael forgot them, and he was able to reestablish it. A mouthful. What? Which one? By the way, that's what they discussed that yesterday. That's actually the Rishonim, that exact nekuda, but the pasuk tells you that it's, you mean, if it's halacha mishmasina, why do you need the pasuk? Why do you need a different lashon kind of thing? We'll see on Amud Beis, the smachta. I'm not saying that's going to get here, but I think, yeah, maybe that's what the Rishonim say yesterday. It was yesterday. Doesn't mean a mouthful. The both of your cheeks pop out means one cheek. It should look like your cheeks are full. It seems from the Mishnah that it's both. It's like. So meisvei. How much do you have to drink on Yom Kippur and Chayav? Few shittas here. What does it say here? Miloi lugmav. It doesn't say kimiloi lugmav. Who does our Mishnah go like? It has to go like Basil, because we always passing like Basil. So you see there's a difference here. There's miloi lugmav, kimiloi lugmav, and a revius. And the fourth shita is enough for like a good swallow. Says the Gemara, so you ask me a question, it seems like Basil hold miloi lugmav, not kid, not like. Literally the full cheeks. Both. So why are you asking me a question from this brisa when the question is from the Mishnah? How could Basil say that it's only miloi lugmav? And then our Mishnah says, I'm sorry, Basil say kim miloi lugmav? Our Mishnah says kim. We're describing our Mishnah kim miloi lugmav. We're explaining our Mishnah means with a kaf. It's one side, but Basil say two sides. And Allah is like Basil. So the question is from our Mishnah, why are you going to the brisa? Says the Gemara, it looks like, because there's one side. Then what's the difference between Basil and Rebbe Lezer? They both say the same exact thing. Rebbe Lezer even says the word kim miloi lugma with a kaf. It looks like. And you're explaining Basil to also mean that it looks like. So they're saying the exact same thing. Says Gemara, that's not completely full. That according to Rebbe Lezer, he's machmir, he says, you're chayev. And according to Basil, it needs to look full. So you have a shear, it's like in between kind of thing. You have one cheek, it's not 100% full. According to Rebbe Lezer, that's enough to be mechayev you. So he's more machmir than Basil, and Basil say no, the cheek has to be completely full. How much is miloi lugmav compared to Beis Shammai? Beis Shammai say a revius. So miloi lugmav is less than a revius. Says the Gemara, Maskevle Shaya imkain havele mikule Beis Shammai or mechumre Basil. Basil say you have to drink less on Yom Kippur in order to be chayiv. That's a chumrah. Beis Shammai say you have to drink a lot more in order to get misa, in order to get whatever you have to get. So that's a kula. I saw a very interesting shaila by Refuah Shelayma Zaman Auerbach. And don't forget, the whole sug is talking about yituvei daita. What soothes a person? And this miloi lugma, by the way, as we're going to see in a second, is based on each individual. So the bigger you are, Shaquille O'Neal's miloi lugmav is double the size of my miloi lugmav. It's just the way it is. He, on Yom Kippur, could drink 2 liters of water and he'd be potter. Right? Seriously. A big person. Now the Gemara says, we're going to turn the page, you'll see in a second. But it's about soothing yourself. What soothes Shaq? A giant bottle of water. Me? A cup, whatever. A little kid? A bar mitzvah boy? It's 2 ounces. As for Shalom and Zavan Auerbach, what if a person doesn't have teeth? He lost his teeth. Or he just lost one tooth. Does his shear get larger because of that? It's interesting shaila. But think about it. It has to do with soothing yourself. So just because you lost teeth, you need to be soothed with more water? But it's a shirim. We don't mess around. That's how it is. It's without understanding sometimes. Says the Gemara, Omar lei ki itchil ba'oig melcha bashan itchil. We're talking about a giant, literally a giant. Somebody so large that didn't fit into the teva, he had to hang out the side of the teva, right? By the way, there's a medrash somewhere that says Eliezer Eved Avram was Oig Melcha Bashan. Well, we're not going to go into that medrash. Oig Melcha Bashan, literally a giant. So his miloi lugma for him is a lot more than a revius. So who's machmer now? Now Beis Shammai are machmer. Beis Shammai say even a small little revius for Shaquille O'Neal, you chayiv misa, you chayiv whatever, you chayiv karas. And according to Beis Hillel, it's going to be miloi lugma, but it's 3 liters. It's a lot less. So they're makel. Maskul, yeah. No, but the point is, the point is that each Because it's not a chumrah or a kula. It's it's each person individual. So you can't go. You can't be machmer. You can't be makel. No, because it's not a kula. It's not a chumrah. Sometimes it's a kula. Sometimes it's a chumrah. So I can't put it in a mishnah. I got to put it in Adius and say the drink of Yom Kippur is a chumrah of Beisil. It's not a chumrah of Beisil. Depends who you are. If you're large, all the people in the midbar. We had a whole Gemara that they found Chaya showed something. Their knees, they were able to go underneath the knees with the horse. Whatever. Yeah, very large people. Moshe Rabbeinu jumped up 20 amas and hit the stick. 10 amas plus 10. The stick was not whatever, ankles. So depends who you're talking about. So Lili Nishmas, we just turned to pay Amud Beis. Lili Nishmas Uri ben Matisyo, and for the success in Gashmirs and especially ruchnis of his grandchildren. Oh. What's the new one? That's going to take too long. Ask the Gemara. Oh, so we just sponsor what? Where is this? Turning the daf. Sponsored for all who need a Shidduch and for Refuah Shelayma, for Cholei Yisrael, especially for our MDY family. Please consider the MDY join. I can't do all this every day. Please consider joining the MDY Tehillim group at tehillim.8mindaf.com. You want to read it? No. It's too long. We gotta chop it down. Have it chopped down. It's that times 3,000 people are watching. It's a lot of time. Masculine zero. Why is food different than drink? When it comes to drink, you're telling me each person has one share. A little kid has another share. But when it comes to food, because it's the size of a date. End of the story. This is going to be the theme. He's going to say it a number of times now. All questions that you have, this is it. Chachamim have a yurtzeit that it doesn't matter how big you are. You can be a giant basketball player, football player. If you eat one date worth, it soothes you. Now, it's not going to fill you. It's going to soothe you. Less than that, not. I could be a small guy and I drink a little this amount and it's fine for me. Another guy doesn't do anything. It's like a drip of water. How is it possible? A giant, he eats. Like imagine an elephant. You're going to give him a keseves agasa. He won't even feel it. He won't. How many pounds of food does he eat a day? Hundreds. No, impossible. Not that much. That's a good. No, that's 7 tons. He does not eat 7 tons a day, but he eats a couple hundred pounds. End the story. Don't ask questions. Yes. Calms himself down with one date. There's a few pshatim here. There's 2 pshatim. You could either learn. Baruch Hashem, I found something like my chavrusa wanted to kill me because I said this pshat, but we found it in the Meiri or whatever. I thought that it meant that after Oig Bashan will soothe him for 1 minute, where another person will soothe him for 10 minutes. He said, no, different pshat. It soothes him a lot and soothes him a little. That's how he wanted to learn. Okay. I didn't like that. It was like, what's a lot and a little? Either it soothes or doesn't soothe. Fine. Look at this. I have a beautiful picture. A grape leaf. This does not look appetizing. And a geschmack, a juicy steak. You're going to tell me that these 2 equally soothe you? A geschmack, a piece of steak? They're both like a keseves. Yeah, people make the grape leaf, whatever, where they throw in that rice. Hashem Yirachem. Yeah. But this is more delicious, right? 1 minute, Ari. This is more. What soothes you more? If I want to soothe you, am I going to give my kid that's wild, he didn't eat for 3 days?
Because otherwise, you're left with the steak, you want much more of the steak. So you end up being left with more, you want more steak.
Okay, so according to you, so this soothes more and not this, but they can't be equal. You're asking they're not equal. Great. So according to your pshat, this is more. Fine. Oh. What, you want no one to show up? End the story. I don't care. It's grape leaf, not grape leaf. At the end of the day, one date's worth is what does the trick on Yom Kippur. Miu. Basa sham in tuva, lulvik fan in purta. One sues you for a long time, one for a short time, or one sues you a lot, one sues you a little. Masiv l'rava. Kezayis b'chdei achilas pras. Now we're talking about v'kuseves b'chdei achilas pras. Now, what's a kezayis? When you're eating kezayis, let's say you eat matzah. How long? In what shear do you have to eat kezayis? How long? You're eating kezayis. You're eating something that's also. You're eating chayla of a kezayis. You eat. Oh, where do you get 4 minutes from? Okay, it's one of the shiurim. You're eating kezayis of chayla. You eat a little bit in the morning, then in the afternoon you eat a little bit more, and by the time evening comes around, you eat a full kezayis. You chayiv a carbon or not? No, you're not chayiv. Why? Because it has to be done b'chdei achilas pras. Pras is a half of a loaf of bread, which is approximately 4 eggs worth. As long as it takes you to eat 4 eggs worth, that's how long, like a 2 sandwiches, I think they say, that's achilas pras. Now, how long is that exactly in our days? Between 3 and 6 minutes, I think they say. 9 minutes, whatever. We went through, we had also good 3 and 9. But it's a certain amount. You have to eat this kezayis quickly. You have to eat it. Also, the Seder night, you have to eat the matzah. You can't just chill out for an hour and take another piece and say, oh, it's so hard, and take another piece. You have to do it within a certain amount of time. 3 to 6 minutes, let's say. So I asked the Gemara, what's going on here? But a date is larger than an olive. So you're going to tell me that to eat a date, you also have the 3 minutes? Ari says 3 minutes. Let's go with 3 minutes. Stop. 4 minutes. What you said 4 minutes? 4 minutes. To eat a small olive, you have to eat it within 4 minutes. And to eat a date, you need to eat it within 4 minutes. You hear what's going on here? It's a kula. It's a kula. Because I'm going to eat double the amount of food, and I can't eat it that fast. So I'm not going to be chayiv on Yom Kippur. Usually, to eat an olive, it takes me 4 minutes. And to eat 2 olives takes me 8 minutes. So if it takes me 8 minutes to eat a date, I'm potter. Because I have to eat the entire date within 4 minutes. That comes out to be a kula, not a chumrah. I'm like, I don't care about your kashas. I saw an incredible kafachayim. I'm just saying it just to push some buttons in some people. I don't understand that at all. He says that if a person has in mind to eat a date on Yom Kippur, any food, he takes a steak and he says, I'm going to eat less than a kezayis in 4 minutes. I'm going to eat a kezayis in 10 minutes. He's chayiv. If he has that in mind and he says, I'm doing it b'dafka, I'm eating it slowly, so I'm not doing it k'dei achilas pras, yichayiv. I don't know where he got it from at all, but that's why he said, kaf ha'chaim ayin sham. Matzkel rava, kezayis b'chdei achilas pras. To eat a kezayis, he's still going at it. To eat a kezayis, it takes you 4 minutes. Chatzi pras. When it comes to tumah, a half of bread. Okay, 2 eggs worth of a bread. How's it possible? A whole sandwich takes the same amount of time to eat as an olive? Impossible. What's going on here? Person ate tumah. He ate a half of bread. In other words, a quarter of a bread. If a person eats a quarter of a bread, then he becomes not tameh but pasul. In other words, if he touches truma, the truma becomes pasul. Says Rav Papa, that halacha that you're eating food, you become tameh, by the way, is only one case in the entire Torah that if you eat food, you become tameh. What is that? Nivlas oif. Only if you eat a bird, and as it hits your throat, you become tameh, your whole body becomes tameh. But if you eat stam, a vela, and put a tameh thing and you put it in your mouth, you don't become tameh. So this, says Rav Papa, don't worry about this. It's not a derais, is only Rabbanon, and that's why they were makel, and they said, yeah, take your time. 4 minutes takes. So look what it says here in the pasuk. You're not allowed to eat shrotzim, and then it says, very interesting lashon. What? You're not allowed to become tamei? A Yisrael, a kohen is aser, but a Yisrael who touches a sheretz and becomes tummy, why does the Torah tell me not to become tummy? I can become tummy all day long. I don't have to watch my tumah. The pshat is mikan v'amar Reb Papa mikan shetumah is gvir deiraisa. I'm learning a different halacha. That if I put a sheret, I put something tummy in my mouth, I become tummy. Not that I shouldn't become tummy by touching it. A different halacha because it can't be touching. It doesn't make any sense touching. Mela means food. So you see, it's deraisa. Says the Gemara, midrabanu cross smachta ba'alma. It's just an asmachta. There's a beautiful ayin in the Ritva in Rosh Hashanah, Daf Tezayin Amud Beis, and he says, this is for the whole Shas, that anytime it says asmachta in the Torah, in the Gemara, it doesn't mean, oh, Chachamim, after they made up a halacha, they found a pasuk that rhymes with what they said, and they put it here. Fakert, says the Ritva. HaKadosh Baruch Hu put it in the Torah. And he said, Chachamim, when you want, go to that pasuk, pull out your halacha from there. It's a very, very big yurtzeit in learning. Says the Gemara, if you eat a piece of steak, but the only way to get to the kiseves hagas, the date's word, is together with the salt. Salt is not food. It's mitzdarif, it is food. Why? That's the way to eat a steak, together with the salt. So in this case, the salt doesn't mitzdarif. If you just to eat salt, a date's worth of salt by itself, of course you're not over. But together with the steak, 3/4 of a date steak and 1/4 of the date is salt, and you're chai. The salad dressing, pshita, is mitzaref. That what? You hear this? If you take salad dressing, a half a date's worth of salad dressing and drink it, and take a half a date's worth of salad and eat it, you're not chayiv. Because liquid and salads don't go together. But if you pour the salad dressing on the salad and mix it in, then all of a sudden it soothes you. We're talking about yitud daita. So that is the shear. Should we do one more line here? I don't know if I should. Okay, I'll just finish it off. It's a whole sugya, but it's a massive daf tomorrow. Okay, we'll stop over here. Have a wonderful day, Rabbi Isai.
Gary set me up.
Beautiful. Enjoy. For Kedusha, for Torah, for Tefillah. I hope, but you should know, I'm taking some of your Shloshim because I go on Zoom now and I don't have them well. So your extra Tefillah should be a Shlosh for me.
Don't rely on me.
I'm not taking your Shloshim.